Hello again. Thank you for coming back for Lesson 3. And in Lesson 3, we're going to read pages 46 through 49 in our book. And while we're reading it, just like the very first lesson that we did, I want you to think about the meaning of each passage that we read, and also find any unfamiliar words that you see as we're reading. So go ahead and open your books to page 46. And I'll begin reading. Our family was complete 2 years later when my brother David was born on November 14th, 1952. Luckily, Dad was in New York. He'd been at the hospital for the births of Jackie and me and didn't plan to miss the birth of his third child either. After the Dodgers lost to the Cardinals, Dad rushed back from Ebbets Field to Doctor's Hospital in time for David's birth. Mom got sick and couldn't go home from the hospital with David. A family friend, Willette Bailey, came to stay with us at this point. She planned to stay until my mother was well, but ended up living with us until my brothers and I were out of the house. Each March, we traveled back with Mom to Florida for spring training and the exhibition games. Since Jim Crow laws were still in effect, we stayed in a motel in a black community while the other Dodgers families stayed in a luxurious beach hotel across town. I was too young to know the difference, but my parents resented being treated differently. Eventually, the Dodgers bought us our own facility in Vero Beach, where black players and white players and their families stayed together. By the time I was 5, Dad had been playing with the Brooklyn Dodgers for 10 years. During that time, he'd helped the team reach the World Series 6 times. In 1949, he led the league in batting with a .342 average and received the National League's Most Valuable Player award. From 1947 to 1953, Dad ranked 4th in the majors in batting average, .319, second in runs scored, 773, and first in stolen bases, 166. Of his nearly 5,000 career at-bats, 51% were from the cleanup slot. The 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers had the best season after yearly disappointments of losing the World Championship to the New York Yankees. The Dodgers and my dad won the World Series. Wait till next year, their annual mantra finally meant victory. Okay, now I'd like you to look back in the book, and we're going to discuss the meaning, and in just a moment we'll discuss the meaning. But first I'd like you to look back in the text and write down any unfamiliar word that you saw while we were reading.